Virginia, Ms. Kiggans, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just wanted to start by thanking our witnesses who took time to be with us today when we had other witnesses not show up. And it just, I think, says a lot about how much you care about this issue. So thank you very much for being here. It also says a lot about the people who did not show up to speak to this issue. The numbers are staggering, and I don't think I need to repeat some of the headlines and words of my colleagues about human trafficking, drug trafficking, crime. The number of illegal immigrants crossing our border, 6 million. It's the size of the population of Denmark or Singapore. I mean, it's really, since Biden took office. So you think about that. And so I'm a person that likes to think of the problem and take 10 steps back. Well, how can we prevent this problem? And you all have presented so eloquently, and been great advocates for your national park, but this is a problem in the park. So what can we do to prevent the problem? Well, I think step one, it would be great if we could just acknowledge that there is a problem at the border. There is a crisis at the border, and depending on who, but there's something that need to be done at the border. I went to the border twice. I represent Virginia's 2nd congressional district, so I'm not a border state, but we all are becoming border states. But just to see in real life and talk to those ranchers and talk to those homeowners and talk to the small business, talk to the Border Patrol, talk to law enforcement. I mean, the stories were shocking. And to listen how few of them there were, the amount of problems they deal with on a daily basis. I cannot understand why our current administration doesn't even acknowledge that there is a problem at the border. So that now we're talking about how it's bled into places on the East Coast, like Virginia, like New York, like Floyd Bennett Field, costing $12 billion over the next 3 years, 100,000 migrants coming to New York City since spring of 22. You talked about the 2,000 migrants and some of the security concerns, and I want to know what the infrastructure and kind of quality of life looks like. I can't imagine it's real good there. It's like a tent city, I'm imagining. I haven't seen it, but what are these people doing? What are these children doing? What are the adults doing during the day? What is the plan of action? Is there one? Or what are we doing with these people?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I'm sorry I don't follow your question. Are you asking about what the local community does there on a day-to-day basis?
What do the people there do?
Right, it's a recreational area, so there's nature trails, there's bird watching areas, there's beaches, and
The immigrants specifically, I'm sorry.
the immigrants specifically.
The immigrants that are.
I mean, they're going to be
there.
part of that. They're going to be able to come and go as they please. There is going to be I don't exactly know what the facility is going to look like. From what I hear, it's going to be a tent, and that's the way it's described in the lease. But they are going to be able to come and go as they please. So they're going to be intermingling with the local community and being able to engage the park just like anyone else would.
So I can't imagine that everything is going to go super smoothly. And you talked about some of the crime issues and, again, security issues. So what will happen if there's an arrest or multiple arrests? Is there a place that we're going to house them, a place that we're going to hold arrested migrants over other arrested people in your city? Or what are the plans for that?
So that's part of what kind of baffled me with this lease agreement. As I stated before, we really weren't consulted on the operational plan as far as the law enforcement aspect of it goes. And from every time we have a special event or some type of incident outside of normal day-to-day operations, our agency comes up with an operational plan, an ops plan, to make sure that that special event or First Amendment activity, whatever it may be, is handled appropriately. Usually that makes, canceling days off for the officers that are on their day off to bring in extra officers to handle that kind of event. There has been no plan in place on what we're going to do with this.
It's frustrating to hear you speak about your recruitment retention and the quality of work that your officers. So please thank them for us. I know they're doing heavy lifts right now. Is the National Park Service or anyone else addressing any of the infrastructure problems to prepare for the migrant shelters at Floyd Bennett Field that we know of?
I'm unaware of any.
Okay. And will the migrant camp hurt or help the quality of the park and the services that are currently offered to visitors? And likewise, we talked a little bit about the migrant camp impact on the national parks ecosystem. I can't imagine that there's not going to be a big impact on that as well.
there would be absolutely a major impact on the park's ecosystem.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.